Hello and welcome to Newness TV. There are most women who get married and then after a few years in marriage, they start complaining that their husbands has become irresponsible, they are no longer taking care of them, they have changed, they are no longer romantic. And I tell some women that this is mostly because you married a boy, you are not keen to observe some of the signs of a boy in a man that we are going to talk about today. And therefore, after marriage, you're expecting that this boy that you married is going to behave like a man. But that never happens. And that is why most marriages are breaking up within the first few years of just initiation. So it's very important for us to be able to understand that in the current generation and with everybody being concerned about the quantity and not quality, it's very easy for you to be caught up in the trap of marrying a boy, thinking that you're marrying a man and regretting later in life. And therefore, I would like us to focus on 5 key differences between a man and a boy. The first one is independence. There's nothing that can define a man more than independence. When a man is dependent on their caregiver or their parents, and especially parents, that is a sign of a boy. And let me break it down for you because we need to understand exactly at what age are we talking about a man. So when someone is above 18 years, you are considered as an adult. You are considered as an adult. And most likely, especially in Kenya, when you are 18 years, if you as a male, this most likely ni wakati sasa umemaliza high school. Most male who wanamaliza high school wakiwa 18 years, 19, and ukienda sana ni 20 years. So now at this age, this is now where umemaliza high school. Now you're going to college. So assuming that at around 25 years, you have been able to complete your college or university education, meaning that now at this particular age, you are supposed to have developed all the features of a man. But one thing that I always tell men, and especially when it comes to independence, this is one of the key areas, is that there's a difference between growing up and growing old. You have to differentiate these two because they are not the same. And unfortunately, there are so many men who are growing old without growing up. And if there's some discordance, if you growing old and you growing up, those two do not match, then there's going to be chaos. So there are so many men calling themselves men who are quite advanced with age, but unfortunately, they forgot to grow up. I want us to break this down. As a male or as a man, especially in Kenya, at the age of 25, around 25 years to 30 years, this is an age where as a man, unafaa ukue at least, you can be able to take care of some of your basic needs. For example, ikikuja ni kitu kama guo, clothes. Hapa hufai kuwa unanunuliwa guo na mamako, honestly. And there are some men who usually start this quite early enough. Quite early. Because for example, personally, mimi nilianza kujinunulia especially ile tuguo dogo dogo ile aibu. Yenye uwezi enda kwa mzazi wako, your mother or your dad unamwambia kuna ile kaguo fulani imeraruka. Na unajua iwezi pelekwa kwa food ikashonwe, so lazima inunuliwe ingine. So from around I think nilikuwa from class 7 there. Already tulikuwa me and my brothers tulikuwa already tushaanza kwenda vibarua, tunaenda kwa mtu unalima. Hiyo time I think ilikuwa around 50 bob or 70 bob. So unapewa 70 bob, unaenda hiyo time saa unanunua kasuruali. So hakuna ile aibu ya kwenda kuitisha mzazi. So there are some who start this quite early enough. And that's very nice. That's very good. But if you are late on this, by 25 to 30 years old, as a man, you are supposed to be able to take care of your basic needs. Unaweza kujinunulia guo, at least kama ni kanyumba unaweza you can be able to afford a single room, yeah. So whatever the size, depending on maybe your source of income, your hustle and all that, the money that you're getting. So at the age of 25 to 30 years, you should be able to take care of that. So from around 30 years, let me say, from around 30 years to around 35, this is usually different from different men have different preferences, and all that. But at around the age of 35 to 30 to 35 years, hapa sasa unafaa ukue kama unatamani kuoa, unafaa ukue umeoa at this particular age, ama at least you are planning to do it. So now, if you are a man, you call yourself a man, let's use the word male. If you are a male and you are 25 years old, 25 to 30 years old, and now your mother has to take care of your clothes, your rent, and everything that you need for survival, and up here psychologically, you are perfectly okay, hakuna shida uko nayo, and you're at this particular age, and hufikiri you have no intentions or thoughts of taking care of your basic needs by yourself, and you are comfortable when your mother or your father or your parents are taking care of your basic needs between the age of 25 and 30 years, wewe umerara, you need to wake up, because you have already started the journey of becoming an old boy, because all you are doing is growing old and you have forgotten to grow up. That's very important. So if you are at this particular age, 25 to 30 years old, and your mother has to remind you to ununue suruali ya ndani mpya, because for some men unaona ni jamaa mkubwa, somebody in their 30s, but ukiangalia ile nguo ya ndani amevalia ni kauzi tu kamebaki hapa kwa waist, nguo imeraruka and you are even wondering, so what's wrong with this guy? So if your mother and you are psychologically okay, huna shida yote ya mwili, mafikira iko sawa, you are perfectly healthy, and you have no intention of moving out from your kutoka kwa wazazi wako, being able to buy yourself clothes, kulipa nyumba hapa na pale. So if you have no intention of doing that, you have already started your journey of becoming an old boy instead of becoming a man. So that is the first indicator. We are still in independence. This is quite key. That's what I mentioned earlier. So if you're at the age of 30 years to 35 years, you're still living with your mother or your parents, ati unapata jamaa ako 35 years na bado amesimama hapo kwa mlango na maji na basin, ama kama mnatumia shower, so anagoja mamake amalize ya kuoga ndio na yeye aingie kwa bafu. What a shame. And you are psychologically okay, huna shida. So wewe already we can confirm kwamba you are a boy. You are a boy in the body of a man. All right? And let's look at this. So if you are in the age of 30 years to 35 years as a man, and I have said there's dynamics. Kuna mtu anasema nitaoa, nitaoa ama for male, nitaoa nikiwa 40 years, huko. I have no problem with those. All right? You already have a plan to do that. But if you are at the age of 30 to 35, which we expect most men hapo sasa ndio wanaanza familia, because again, let me show you the danger. You're marrying at the age of 40 years. Hapa ndipo unaoa. Unless huna mpango ya kupata watoto. Because if you have plans to become a father and you are marrying ukiwa between 35 and 40 years, and let me tell you, after 20 years, if you have, kama umeoa ukiwa na 40 years, after 20 years, you'll be 60 years. Hapa sasa ndipo utakuwa una retire. You'll be, hapa ndipo utakuwa unakula pension. Your firstborn atakuwa 20 years. Bado atakuwa ndio ametoka kwa teenage. Alright? Atakuwa 20 years when you are 60. So meaning kama ulikuwa unataka kupata watoto wadogo, watoto watatu assuming, and wameachana maybe within 5 years, ndio the gap, unaweza waachanisha na gap kidogo such that within 5 years umepata watoto watatu, so that means your last born umempata ukiwa 45 years. So when you are 60 years, your last born is 15 years old. So you are an old person already, but you are a father to a teenager. You see the danger? So hapa sasa ndipo unapataga wazazi wengine hata wakienda mikutano ya watoto shule, your child is even ashamed of kuambia wale wengine huyu ni babagu. Hataki because this is an old guy, unakaa kama babu yao. Yeah? So huyo mtoto tu hataki kusema wewe ni babake, anasema hapana, huyu ni babu yangu. This is my grandfather, ndiye amekuja, sijui babagu alikuwa busy hakuweza kukuja, but you are the father. your son or your daughter is ashamed even to say you are the father because already umezeeka. So ni vizuri unajipanga. So let's not go there. So my concern was this particular age, when you are a young person, when you have energy, because after 35 years you are no longer a young person, because youth is from around 17, 18 there to now 35 years. That's when tunasema you are a young person. So if you are a young person and you are a male, na uko at this particular age, uko 35 years old, bado unakaa kwa mamako, hulipi nyumba, mamako ndiye anakununulia nguo, ndiye anakufanyia kila kitu, wewe ni mama's boy, you know, and you know you cannot be able to take care of yourself or buy yourself anything. You are a boy in the body of a man. And any woman, any lady marrying this kind of a character, you are endangering your life, because this is a man who will never be responsible. How do you wanaume wenye unapata any decision that need to be made at home, anapigia simu mamake, you know, bibi yangu anasema tupate mtoto, mama unaona aje? Yes, so my wife amesema anataka to have sex mara 7 kwa siku na mimi sitaki, mama unaona kama ananisubua ama unaona nifanye aje? You know, those kind of things. There is a man who will confirm from the parents every decision that he has to make in that family, and you are the one who is going to suffer as a woman. So kama unaolewa na mama's boy mwenye lazima apigie mamake confirm kila kitu ama babake, you are endangering yourself as a woman. And that's now the kind of men wenye unafika kwa marriage sasa, after mumekaka, that's now when you start complaining, lazima apigie mamake, lazima afanye nini. But you got married to a boy, and maybe you saw some of these signs but you ignored them. So that is independence. So independence is what makes a man a man, that you can be able to take care of yourself. And that's why nimesema that you can be able to take care of yourself, you can be able to parent, unaweza kula, unaweza jinunulia nguo, even if you are struggling to make ends meet, but at least you are doing something, you know, kuna kitu unafanya, unajituma. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, at this particular age, at one point maybe or another, you might find yourself as a man that maybe uko chini, you have to call your mom, mimi sina shida na hao, you know, uko chini, sometimes you have to call your parent, niokoleeni kidogo nitarara ja, but you know, not every day again. So if you are doing something, I'm okay with you. But if you are doing nothing, you are very comfortable living with your parents, then that's a very big danger. You are becoming a boy kwa mwili a man. So it's very dangerous. Let's go to the next thing. The next thing is discipline and not emotions. So when I'm talking about discipline, men are defined by discipline. You don't want to wake up one morning as a man and then unasema, I don't feel like going to work, I don't feel like doing this. No. Men do what they must do, not because they are feeling like they have to do it, but because they know there's a discipline that I need in my life. So women are known to respond to emotions, but not men. Okay? I'm not saying that you nub your emotions. I'm not saying that you ignore your emotions and feelings. No. Acknowledge them. But again, don't become a slave to a certain behavior simply because you're always saying, I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing that. So you have to instill discipline. Men are known to be disciplined. And any man who is always responding to emotions, akisikia tu have sex anakibiria neighbor, akisikia to have sex bestie, you know, you cannot be able to control your discipline, you cannot be able to control your emotions, you are always responding. And we are going to mention something about delaying of gratitude in the next point. So a man, if that guy that you know, unasema ni mwanaume, but yeye hana any form of discipline, hakuna kitu anaweza jifanyia, ukienda kwake kwa nyumba, everything is everywhere. This guy is amejiachiria. There's no self-love, there's no self-care. That is a boy, my friend. Huyo si mwanaume. Because men instill discipline, embrace discipline, and do not just respond to any emotion or any feeling, obeying their body and becoming slaves to their bodies. That is very significant. The other thing is thinking on long term. Tuko pamoja. So currently, you have seen so many boys. especially in universities, kuna tu boys twingi sana. Alright? Tu boys twingi sana. Unaangalia tu hivi jamaa ako first year, ako second year, third year, fourth year, lakini ukimwangalia tu hivyo hapa hata hakuna mwanaume anatengenezwa hapa. Haka ni kajamaa tu. Haka ni kaboy. Why? Because most of them are not thinking on long-term basis. They are only thinking on short-term basis. Because these are now the boys in the universities who are just using drugs, irresponsible sexual behavior, and utawapata tu na pombe 24/7 wakiwa walevi. So they do not think on long-term basis. Their major concern is to satisfy their gratitude. You know, that immediate gratification, not gratitude, but immediate gratification. So anafiru anataka pombe, anaendea. Anafiru anataka kunyorosha msichana, anakibiria. Hataki kujua kama ako na kaswende, hataki kujua kama ako na HIV. Those are boys, my friend. Because if you are a man, you're going to think on the long-term basis. You're going to think about the consequences of what you are about to do before you do it. Because you do not want to do something without thinking about the consequences and then come to regret later. And that's why men rarely regret the things they do. Why? Because they think about the consequences when they want to do something. So if you are not thinking about the consequences of what you are doing, you are not thinking about the long-term effect of what you are doing, you are a boy. And you are walking towards the journey of becoming an old boy instead of an old man. Now, let's look at responsible or responsibility. So, these are guys, for men don't play games. A man, mwanaume akikuja akwambia nakupenda, that's not a guy who is just going to cheat on you. No. Boys are the ones who cheat. And you know, cheating is someone's willingness. Okay? Hakuna mtu ashaijipata ati kwa situation lazima acheat. Hakuna. Na as a lady, usiwahi danganywa na mwanaume, oh nilijipata, sijui oh nikashetani, hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Cheating is a decision. No matter what circumstances you find yourself in, if you are a man enough, you get yourself out of that. Why? Because you are responsible and you do not just give excuses. So a man akikuchita atakupea tu excuses, a man akikukosea kila wakati ni excuses, they will never own up to anything that they have done in their life. They are always giving excuses, and these are boys and not men. Ladies, am I helping? I need you to distinguish between real men and boys who are growing old. Now, the last one is living on weekends. Now, kazi yao tu ni maswag, you know? And these are just boys. So unapata sijui amevalia amesaga huku hadi huku chini, you know, nyash, you know, ni nyash. Ya wanaume ni nyash kweli, I have no idea. But you know, huku nyuma yote iko nje. Unaenda tu ukiangalia mapanti zake, ni panti ama ni boxer, those things, you know. So, you know, those are boys. That ile swagi tu imetokea unakibiria. Ukiona tu sijui watu wananyolewa aje huku wakiwa wameachwa huku, na that's what you are running after. And these are now the guys who are really looking forward to live on weekends. So anauliza Friday itafika lini? You know, ndio aende akatei, ndio aende pate, ndio aende akalewe. So those are boys, my friend. Because if you are a man, you understand that enjoying this life, you do not have to wait for the weekend ifike ati ndio ukakibia ukaenjoy. No. You'll get the best out of every day that you are living as a man, knowing that sio lazima ati weekend ifike ndio uende ukasherehe. Every day that you wake up, you're trying to get the best out of that day so that you can enjoy every day. So anyone mwenye unasikia tu akikibiria weekend, those are boys. And if wanakibiria tu maswag, you know, kila lifestyle imetokea ndiye amekibiria. They don't want to know how damaging it is. They don't want to know where they are going to get the money. How does it ndio wanaume wenye unasikia ni to Ben 10. To Ben 10 ni mwanaume, a young person mwenye amewekwa na kimama fulani. You know, let me call them kimama because it's an old woman also who have grown up, instead of becoming a woman, grow up as a girl. And we are going to talk about that next. Because we also have women who are not growing up to become mature women, but they are growing up, akona 60 years, but ni kasichana tu, anabehave kama msichana. Alright? So that is very important. So I don't want to take much time on that, but those are the 5 key elements or key areas that you can be able to distinguish between a man and a boy. And this is very important for you ladies to understand, and even for men to understand this. Because if you want to live a life like the man you claim you are, some of these behaviors, you're going to either leave them out or adopt them, depending on which angle you're looking at this at, you know. So it's very important. Usikue wewe ati uko 60 years, uko 30 years, uko 40 years, na bado unakimbiza tusichana kwa kijiji to 10 years and 15 years, teenagers. And if you see a man, any man out there, who is ameadvance kwa miaka, amepata mpaka watoto, na bado anakimbiza tule tusichana tudogo, teenagers and those young girls in colleges and universities, huyo si mwanaume, huyo ni kijana. That is a boy, it's not a man. Because a man, you should be able to understand, unafaa kutembea na watu wa miaka gani, unatembea na rika yako. Sio kukimbiza tusichana, girls of your daughter's age, ndio unakimbizana na wao, kurara na wao. That is a boy. That is not a man. So it's very important for you to classify yourself and to know the things that you're doing that makes you look more of a boy than a man. Because circumcision does not make boys men. No. Circumcision just makes uncircumcised male to circumcised males. Get that clearly. That circumcision does not transform boys to men. Circumcision only changes the state of boys from uncircumcised males to circumcised males. Circumcision cannot make you a man. Discipline makes you a man. Principles and standards makes you a man. Your personality makes you a man. Your behavior makes you a man. And that's why I'm saying, we even have boys in government. People who you look at and you are like, nini alikuwa nafikiria? You know? We have men who have beards. When you wako na movie, you know, nywele za white, but they are still boys. They are behaving like boys. So it is very important as a man. As you grow old, remember to grow up. Because if there's that mismatch between you growing up and growing old, you're going to encounter challenges in your life. Utapata mtu grow old ako 50 years, lakini alisahau grow up at the age of 20. Aliacha grow up akiwa 20 years but bado ana grow old. So these are now the men who are at their 50s, but they are behaving like teenagers. You know, teenagers, they don't care, they don't mind irresponsible sexual behavior, to using drugs and all that. So now those are the men in their 50s who are behaving like teenagers. Simply because they are not men, they are boys. They stopped growing up and they were just growing old. So remember, as a man, as you grow old, don't forget to grow up. This is brought to you by Newness Counseling Organization. If you'd like to reach out to us for any mental health services or counseling services, don't hesitate to call us. We are going to help you to become a man. Kama mko na programs hapo kwa church, you know, right now watoto wako shule, wako nyumbani, you can call us. Call me. Let's talk to these young people so that now we can be able to transform boys to actual men. Because circumcision will not do that for them. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Newness TV. Remember to subscribe, leave a comment, share with your friends. Let us continue transforming boys into responsible men in the society. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.